stuff that we do. A really big focus is also spreading know your rights information and sort of highlighting the unjust persecution of festival communities and the festival organizers and promoters, which will lead into what Dede is going to be speaking on in a little bit. As I'm sure all of you all know that are live music fans, you know, the traveling to and from an event can be one of the most stressful and dangerous times. Cops, especially when you're going to festivals, cops very unjustly and illegally profile us. They'll pull us over, they will get us to illegally search our cars, they will intimidate us, and they will lie and do whatever they can to get their coffers filled for that week that that festival is going in there. We've been working really closely over the past few months with the festival lawyer, who, if you're not aware of who he is, you need to. He runs a Twitter account and also has a really good website where he blogs on showbams.com. And he's really been pushing the forefront of the Know Your Rights information and sort of highlighting the persecution that's going on in our community, more so than anybody else has for the last year. So we've worked with him over the last year to get some of his materials supplied to us, and you know, they're pretty much the stuff that SSDP already hands out, but it's more geared towards the live music setting and how you can assert your rights and know what you can and can't do. Sort of going back to Mikayla's comment about going through security, the festival lawyer actually has a very specific article. It's about 3 pages on that in itself. It's not really commonly known, but pretty much most of the searches that go on when you go through a security checkpoint at festivals are blatantly illegal. And if you actually are caught when you're going through a festival gate with drugs, you can most of the time willfully turn around and leave and nothing will happen to you. You just need to know how to assert your rights and be comfortable doing it. Please read this article. It can explain this a lot better than I can. And so besides you know, drug policy reform, harm reduction, and know your rights, our big picture goal and sort of where we have been wanting to take Amplify since we sort of realized the opportunity that we had and sort of could see, thanks to Stefanie inviting us out to a conference last year in San Francisco called Club Health that focuses on specifically nightlife harm reduction issues. It was mainly people from Europe, and basically at that conference we sort of realized that there's only about 3 or 4 organizations that even realize that this is a problem and that even realize what the problem is, which is policy. Dede is going to explain that much more in-depthly, but there are specific policies that have been around for around 15 years which have created the situation that we're in right now of having festival organizers and promoters and people who put on these events afraid to have us doing the things that need to be done to make these safe settings. And sort of our big picture idea has been trying to develop or work and, you know, come up with some coalition between us, DanceSafe, DPA, MAPS, and any other people that want to work on it, on actually developing a campaign around some kind of policy issue that we can use to start chipping away at this horrible 15-year-long mess that we've been in. And everything has sort of been coming together in the last few months. Dede is going to be explaining her campaign in depthly, which is pretty much exactly what I think all these organizations want to do. So.
Cool, thank you. So I want to make sure that we have a good discussion and that Dede gets enough time to
cut it out. That's so much pressure. Oh my gosh. Stop it.
But yeah, we are really excited to be at this moment right now, and Mikayla and Brian have done a good job of explaining a lot of the stuff that I want to go over. But I sit on the board of directors for DanceSafe. I also co-run the Amplify project and have been doing that for about 3 years now with Brian. But DanceSafe was an organization that was found 16 years ago, actually. They were pioneers of this movement here in the United States, at least. They were founded in the San Francisco Bay Area. Basically, there was a lot of underground raves that were going on in warehouses. not a lot of oversight that was going on, and people were getting into trouble using too many drugs, not being safe about it, that sort of thing. So they saw a real need in the community to start advocating for harm reduction and peer-to-peer education. So that's two of the big things that DanceSafe does, is they set up at live music festivals, mainly in the electronic dance community, but they've started to expand more to like the jam, Bonnaroo, we're not there yet, but like those bigger festivals that are more mainstream, that sort of thing. And talk to people about the real risks, but also benefits that you can experience from using drugs. So having a real conversation with people. They have these really great drug information cards that you guys might have seen. It has all the information on the back of them about what to expect if you take them, dosage, that sort of thing. It's a real good conversation starter. And it contains a lot of information that a lot of people don't know. And it's also, they also promote peer-to-peer education, like I said. So talking to each other that are your peers about your actual experiences with drugs, opening up that dialogue, and not just trying to have this scare tactic sort of memento. And so another great thing that they do is they do on-site drug testing. They have actually 4 different types of reagents, Simon, Necky, Mandolin, and Marquis. And you can actually buy them online, like it was mentioned, $65 for the entire kit. You can get like 50 different uses out of that kit. It's basically, the idea is you cannot possibly make an informed decision if you don't know what you're putting in your body, right? And so I have gotten the pleasure of being able to set up with DanceSafe, mainly not on official grounds. A lot of times we're set up outside of a venue because unlike AMPLIFY, they don't have these really great artist connections. And so that's always an issue, is trying to get into the venues, because a lot of the venues and promoters are scared that if they allow drug testing on site, then they might be seen as allowing drug use on their premises, which could result in their clubs being shut down and taken away with asset forfeiture laws. And so I've gotten the chance to do drug testing on site before, and it's the greatest service that you can offer to this community. I've had so many people come up, test it, it's not what they thought they bought, and throw it away, or go find something else, and tell their friends who they also knew bought it. And nobody else is currently doing that on such an official basis. Bunk Police is out there, but they don't couple the education with it that DanceSafe does. And actually, DanceSafe started the only publicly accessible laboratory analysis program for ecstasy in North America. It's still open. It's managed actually by Arrowwood.org as well as ecstasydata.org. So if you want to know drug trends that are happening around the United States, what's actually being sold and what's being tested, I highly recommend you go to both of these sites and check it out, because that's a really good representation of what's out there right now.
And if you ever get a substance that either tests not as what it is or tests as exactly as it is, consider sending a sample of it into ecstasydata.org so it can be published for everybody else to see.
Yes. And I guess I just want to go over quickly like how we do drug testing at events. So people will come up to our table, kind of discreetly ask if we are able to test their substance. We have a porcelain plate, as well as all of our reagents kept in a cooler. Have them come to a designated space that we usually set up before the show that's somewhat away from the table. Whoever is wanting to test their substance, they pour a very tiny amount in 4 vials so that you can do all 4 reagents. And you just do it right there, and it's very quick. I mean, it happens very, very quickly. And then we have a chromatography chart so you can compare the colors and what it changes to. It is a lot of guessing. So you get better at it, you know, by being able to differentiate the nuances between the colors, but it's not absolutely perfect. So that's why we need to have labs actually set up inside these clubs like they do in Europe. So that's sort of what we're working for. And just going off of that, DanceSafe has been getting a lot of media attention over the past year and a half, especially following Electric Zoo, like Mikayla mentioned, where there was 2 fatalities there. Following that, Tomorrow World, which is an absolutely huge festival that was started in Belgium. It was their first year doing it in North America last year outside of Georgia. 140,000 people came. More people were represented from different countries there than they were at the Olympics. It was insane. It was crazy. It was awesome. But in Belgium, they do have a harm reduction team because the laws there allow them to have a bigger presence in that area. And so they saw the importance of inviting DanceSafe out to prevent what happened at Electric Zoo. And so we actually were able to team up with their medical staff, had radios, had a booth right in the main vendor area. It was really, really great, but they did not allow us to drug test on site. If we had done that, it would have breached the contract. We never would have had a discussion with them again. They also were not allowed to talk about policy issues, or we weren't allowed to talk about policy issues at all. They didn't want the message to be confused that we were promoting drug use in any way. So it was just education that we were allowed to disseminate. That's it. They also pulled the heroin card out of our 16 different drug cards that we have. And the idea, I guess, behind that was that, well, people probably aren't going to be using heroin here, and we don't want to push the idea on them or give them any ideas that heroin might be something to do at a festival. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I think that at least in the jam community, which is where my roots are, actually heroin use is a pretty big deal. So I don't think that we should make that kind of assumptions about people's drug use to begin with. But those are some of the things that DanceSafe is facing. So I just wanted to highlight on that. That's some of the challenges that DanceSafe is having to overcome right now. And I will turn it over to Dede.
Thanks for coming. My name is Dede Goldmsmith. My story is my daughter's story. Give me a lot of positive vibes here, people, so I don't start crying. Okay, Shelly, she would have turned 21 this year. Last summer, she went to, my husband and I were traveling out west for my sister's 60th wedding, or 60th birthday. And Shelly wrote to me and said that she was going to go to a dance concert, which was fine. She'd gotten her ticket through Ticketmaster. It was at Echo Stage, which is a concert hall in DC, so it's a DJ set. It didn't raise any red flags at all. We went about our trip and wished her a good time. On the night of, in the middle of the night on August, this was 31st, we got a call, talk about things to have on hand. We got a call from a friend of hers at UVA because the people that she was with didn't have parents' contact information, so that might be something you put in there. But we got a call about 2 in the morning. We were in Frankfort, Kentucky, and a friend said, I'm really sorry, I'm really sorry. And I said, what? Well, Shelly's in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. I said, well, what? Well, what's going on? What happened? Well, she'd taken Molly, and I said, who's Molly? Right? Okay. 58 years old, graduated in the 70s, and had been through most experiences or knew about some drugs. I knew about ecstasy. I've got a 35-year-old son. I've got a 14-year-older brother. So we raced back. Didn't get there to amount with anything. She was already gone, but they were keeping her on life support until we got there. When we got there, we found out that she had taken Molly. That was confirmed. All of her friends they had rented a bus. They knew course, to have adequate transportation. I thought that was very responsible.